Hello again for one final bout of World Super Touring action for Season 3. Adrian Michael Rees here alongside me, Michael Swinnerton. And as you can see, it is a front-wheel drive hive. The front three rows taken up by the works efforts of Ford, Volkswagen and Honda. We're in Japan. Ford and Volkswagen don't really have any kind of territory for sales around here, so the fan base in the crowd is mostly Honda and Toyota based. Perhaps a couple of Mazda's fans thrown in. Swinney will vouch for that shortly. In fact, here he is now. Pretty good fan support for this race, all things considered.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we know the Japanese crowd is to to give it a slang term, goes hard with this stuff. We've seen
Yeah,
the kind of costumes that they do for the Formula One events around here. So yeah, it's been nice to see lots of Honda and Toyota merch, but we've done pretty well. There's a fair bit of blue and yellow knocking around in there, which is quite nice.
something you'll have to get used to next season. Then when the circus, well, your venture doesn't really hit Japan anymore, so the fan base will be slightly different when you've got Volvos in the Euros next season.
Uh, well, we're running Mazdas in the Euros. The Volvos are showing up in the World Series, but yeah, there'll still be a blue and yellow presence here in the World Series.
Okay, let's get things off the ground. Webber's got some work to do. He's not in the top 8. In fact, the rear-wheel drive action comes from Fisichella. Off the line, slot 7, already up to 5th before the braking area for turn 1. And Palou gets the whole shot. Didn't really get any threat from Suarez or Thompson there. And Webber, yes, already up to 8th ahead of one of the Renaults as the swarm hits the Coca-Cola corner.
Yeah, Webber's job in this race and this weekend is really just to maintain. He wants to just keep that points total pointing in the right direction and make sure he just stays in front, because that's all he really needs to do now, just to secure that championship.
Fisichella down the inside of Wirtz there. We see Salo and Lammers having a dice. Webber hanging back for the time being as the traffic heads to the newer section of Fuji since 2005 as we head for the tight chicane section. Webber down the inside with a bit of a late braking effort, already up to 7th, and could take 6th off of Fisichella. There we go.
He's got the preferred line at the moment. Ooh, a bit of sideways oversteer there. That's going to allow Fisichella to get his nose in for the next corner, which of course is in Fisichella's favour. They're still too wide.
Next corner.
Cars 2 and 3, both got 2 wins apiece. Is Fisichella going to hang it tough around the outside? It looks like he's going to try.
It's going to be a drag race for Daiichi, turn 1 once again. We see Gordon Butcher making a charge as well. There's another rear-wheel drive car right there. The last hurrah for the Crown athletes.
In this series, yeah, they will be Toyota are moving their efforts to the Japanese series, which will form its inaugural season next time by, but they will be using Corollas. I believe these Crown athletes are spoken for, so we will see them again in the Japanese series under private ownership, if I've heard things correctly. Don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but hey ho, I just did.
Would you have heard them from ED and the other Toyotas?
Well, I already don't know if I've spoken too much, so I'll keep my sources closed for now. But otherwise, yes, that's what I've heard.
I'll keep my catch-up close as well. Palou leads, Suarez, Thompson, there's your top 3. Salo and Wirtz keeping the front-wheel drives proud. And only one Japanese car in the top 5. Butcher and Lammers are the second and third Japanese manufacturers on track. Gasho 11th in the first of the Renaults. Not been their season, even if they have, as you see, 2 win flags on the side of Gasho's car. and 2 on the side of Ayalo's.
Yeah, that car really does seem very wobbly going into this complex here. I think they've got a lot of things they need to work out with that car over the off-season, because they've proved that it's quick, it's got race-winning potential. We've seen that already this year, but there's just been too many situations through technical sections of tracks where the cars have just not behaved, and it's very obvious that they're not behaving as well.
And talk of the tyre supplier changing up once again. Goodyear are making sure that a different compound comes into play for season 4, as we see Verts down the inside of Salo for Coca-Cola.
Slams the door before corner entry.
And as you can see, he's already got the fastest lap on the first flying lap of the race, but we are early doors. Another 8.5 to go. Nobody really piling on the pressure further back here. Salo could try and get some of this back here. Don't know whether the excitement's going to be getting hiccups, but there we go. There's Salo. Very close to Verts.
I don't think Salo's going to let this get away just
yet.
yet. That's a late lunge. A little bit of rallycross action from Verts. Salo back through.
Looks like in this race at least, this section has kind of broken up the crocodile, so to speak. And it's only really that sort of front stretch that's the front stretch and the braking area for Dunlop and the tight chicane where the overtakes are going to be had by the looks of it. Even though we did see one at Coca-Cola earlier. Hello, on board.
We know how good the BMW is on its brakes. We know how weak, to put it a phrase, the Volkswagen is on its brakes. So we could see some fireworks regarding Webber and Verts down here into turn 1. It just depends on how close they are. No, nowhere near.
Now, this is a venue that is known for its, I'd say, put it mildly, transitional weather phases. I'm seeing some slight mist in the distance, so we'll try and keep posted if that is said to be a rainstorm, much like the one we didn't expect at the Nürburgring on the previous doubleheader weekend.
Yes, that caught out almost the entire grid of cars as well. Bit of mid-corner oversteer there for the Golf. That's allowed Webber to catch up to the back of him. We're coming up to the next heaviest braking zone on the track. Don't know if Webber can make a lunge from there, but he might try it. Not quite.
Too far back then. Woods with a bit of a psychological look down the inside on Salo. But a lot of curb cleaned by Verts there. Could Webber get closer by the time we get to the final turn?
In theory. You can get away with using a lot of curb with the front-wheel drive cars because it doesn't really upset the balance too much. It's the rear-wheel drives that you'll see try avoiding the curbs a little bit more on the whole. They keep a very tight line through there.
That final turn implies that there is a vast array of different lines you could take, but I think everyone was erring on the side of caution there either way. Whether it impacted their performance on the exit down the fastest stretch of track, as it always has been, old or new.
Personally, I prefer the swing out wide, make a very late apex and give yourself as much momentum as possible going down the start-finish straight for that final turn. But that does leave you very open to people trying to lunge it up to the inside.
Speaking of lunges, Suarez could get that down the inside of Coca-Cola. We see it a little bit ahead, but no, Palou still leads.
Although these two have closed up the gap on each other. So Suarez is definitely there. Definitely making a case for why he wants the lead. But they do have to be careful because Thompson is just right there in third place. If they make a mistake, that Honda is going to capitalise.
And I think that's what the crowd will want to see, is that Honda, on Toyota territory mind you, get the win.
for sure. Jason Thompson has not been able to move this weekend for fans wanting him to sign things. It's been rather hilarious to watch.
And there's your top three. There's another battle of threes behind this. We've seen it earlier. Salo versus Weber. Lammers is back up to 8, so that Toyota has lost the position to Weber's teammate, actually, Fia Schneider.
Yeah, Butcher all the way down to 10th, though that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, given how the Toyotas really didn't do well in qualifying at all yesterday. But, you know, if Butcher stays 10th, we all know what that means for race 2.
Certainly do, especially if Gasho's not going to gain any ground either. 11th, Ingram in 12th. Not that it matters too much about the privateer aspect. That looks like it's going to be sorted. But here's Wirtz again.
Wirtz versus Salo, round 2.
Bit of a slide on there.
Slight bit of contact. He's in front.
And then,
meanwhile, another Golf versus Ford battle.
Lightning strikes twice. The same move, the same outcome.
Yeah, Suarez are going to have to start searching around the racetrack, I think, to get around the Ford of Palou. We know where the Golf is strong. We know what it's good at and what it's not good at. So Suarez really needs to try and capitalise on that. Get a good run out of the last corner and just out-drag that Focus down the start-finish straight would be my guess. Certainly be what I would be planning if I was in that car myself. And closes up there into the chicane, but that's just concertina effect. Here comes Salo again. This isn't over.
Grass all over the chicane from Wirtz's Volkswagen. Might affect Fisichella and Lammers' battle as well. Weber looks, or is trying to take advantage of any mistake made by the two in front. Still very stagnant despite that slight glimpse of action. Top 10 still in the same shot. Top 11.
Weber taking a slightly wider line around the last corner, trying to give himself a bit more momentum. See if he can't stay in the slipstream of this Golf. But again, we all know how just that Golf has the quickest top speed. It is the best thing in a straight line, despite of how much of a brick it is.
And that's why that stand is there, and this is why it's a tight first turn. Verge down the inside once more, not enough to get even the most offensive of moves pulled off.
Salo had a bit of a wide line, didn't hit the apex, and that's allowed Wirtz alongside going into turn 2 here.
I think we're expecting a repeat prescription of what's going to happen to Coca-Cola. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Wirtz has got the position.
How long will he keep it for this time, I wonder?
Still called a hairpin this turn, despite it being a lot wider than the old version.
Yeah, it's still a hairpin. It's just an early apex hairpin.
And then slightly new territory here, just a bit more angular. The 300R. Dunlop corner coming up.
Salo on the brakes. He's going to get him back.
And is it Wirtz on the dirts again? Yes.
He's got him back again. These two just cannot make up their minds.
And Weber still not really capitalising.
To be fair, he doesn't. He's probably thinking championship here. If I was Weber, I would just be sitting behind the both of them, let them have their squabble and just enjoy the show. Just make sure you maintain the gap to Fisichella behind you.
And then 5th place for race 2.
Yes.
Ahead of these guys. Fisichella 7th, Lammers 8th. Butcher still 10th behind Sophia Schneider.
Nicky Lammers has done pretty respectable for his rookie season here in the World Series. We'll see what he can do next year, because of course he is still confirmed with Honda for next year, along with Thompson.
Potentially a top 5 finish from the end of this weekend in terms of the championship. He's in amongst the likes of Wittmann and Suarez on points. Not enough to get ahead of Thompson in 4th place in the championship. his teammate, which in fairness has made Honda look good for third place in the constructors. A little bit more effort perhaps if it was to beat Alpha to second place in that championship.
They've definitely secured the front wheel drive victory, in as much there isn't really one, but they are definitely the best of the front wheel drive teams this year. And I did say at the beginning of the season that Civic was quick. From what I'd heard of them from the drivers in pre-season testing, they really liked that car, and Honda have built a very good chassis there with that thing. So, especially with how they've made it a bit bigger, it feels more like an old Integra rather than a Civic.
Yeah, I can see that. Almost, I mean, the livery kind of gives the hint a mile off, but yeah. Either way, on the same track as the Ford and Volkswagen this time by, still can't get past them in this particular race. Palou, Suarez, Thompson, the top three.
So,
then
crucially, Wirtz has managed to make it stick this time. We missed him pull the overtake again into turn 1 on Salo, but he managed to defend his position into the chicane this time. So Wirtz now definitely 4th place.
Which means he's got enough power to pull the gap even further apart.
Yeah, can he catch Thompson in the few laps remaining, or will Salo keep him honest?
And still fairly mild, not necessarily stagnant. You might have to confirm that by the time lap 11 comes along. And all the while, you see Butcher ahead of Wittmann now. Schneider closes in on Niki Lauda's 8th place. Garshaw 12th.
Yeah, Wittmann was another one of those drivers that had a very, very bad qualifying, so she has also moved up through the order a little bit, just like Butcher. And I'm sure she would love to replace Butcher for 10th place so she can get pole for race 2 and try and make something of this weekend that has not started well for her. And this has not been the title defence that she definitely wanted, with how her early season struggles have just put her out of contention almost immediately. Spent most of the year on the back foot playing catch up.
Which in the grand scheme of things isn't as bad as the BMW comeback or the initial capitulation of last season.
Yeah, they were still figuring certain kinks out with that M2, and it showed. But going to this M4 has definitely proved to be the smarter choice. Well, they were forced to go to this M4, but you know, still, you can see how much it's paid dividends to them with how much they're leading the constructors title by and how much Webber is leading the drivers championship by. Schneider has a look down the inside. That's a bit rough.
Lammers didn't really give the space there. Maybe he didn't need to, but
they're still too wide.
Approaching.
Lammers is going to have the preferred line. He's going to be on the inside. Schneider just with the momentum right round the outside.
Yeah. Just like the swap for 4th and 5th. 5th and 4th.
Yes.
Lap and a half to go. Palou and Suarez, I mean, the dots on track imply something's happening, but if we do go and look now, we'll see them just as well. Thompson is gaining.
Yeah, Thompson's all over the back end of Suarez. I wonder if Suarez has burnt his tyres out a little bit.
As is the case with the tyre compound of the previous 2 seasons. There is a risk he could lose all the way by the time you get to the final 25% of the race. But keeping it conservative might not be the best plan of action either, because you could still be struggling to even get 10th place and pole for race 2.
Yeah, we've seen the Golfs on a bad day just drop like a rock through the order. So, I mean, this straight, I think, is what's keeping them alive because, of course, as I've said, the Golf has tremendous top speed. And everything they lose over the course of the lap, they can just bring it straight back again on this start-finish straight.
whilst they haven't had the best of seasons, 3 wins for both their drivers combined, and still trying. I don't think they're going to get it. They are 4th in the constructors, behind Honda.
Yep.
Other teams have done worse.
Absolutely.
With 1 to go, nothing's really changed in the top 10 because Butcher is all on his lonesome. So unless Wittmann actually puts some kind of major effort in this final lap to get pole for race 2, I don't think that is on the cards. And neither is the change in the podium positions for this first race.
I think the answer to my earlier question, can Salo keep Wirtz honest or will Wirtz pull away? We definitely have an answer in that Salo has kept him honest and Wirtz has had to just drive in his mirrors, which has stopped him from having the opportunity of trying to catch Thompson and potentially fight for a podium. Thanks to that finish man right there.
And there we go. Light to flag. Ford get the win in Japan. And that will give Polo twice the amount of wins. A very good run in Spain earlier on. Suarez not capitulating like he would have in previous seasons. Thompson with 3rd place. Keeping Japan happy for this time by. And there's the 9th. And yes, Butcher, Toyota and the fan base will know the rules. They'll be very pleased that despite it not meaning much for other races, P10 means P1 for race 2. Wittmann's title mathematically was spent a while ago. Here comes the rest of the field, including Kazuki Ide. One of the privateer Tamiyas had to run their spare, hence the different colour there, but we'll see what they can do for race 2, getting that livery on. The wraps are pretty quick these days. And there's your winner. Fairly mild race, all things considered. Most of the titles have been decided, and it's just down to what Webber does for race 2 now, Swinney.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a big track. It's built for sports cars and Grand Prix cars and what have you. So running little touring cars around here, you do run the risk of having the field spread out like that because they've got the room for it. But as you pointed out earlier, Fuji is one for surprise rain showers. So whilst I don't know if we're going to get rain in race 2, you can't rule it out as a possibility.
We're still looking at the window as we speak at what could be, even if the radar says otherwise. We have been cursed in that regard recently, and we want to make absolutely certain you get the news before it happens on the weather, especially for the final round of the season, which we'll look forward to with you soon. So on behalf of Michael Swinnerton, this is Adrian Michael Rees, and we'll see you soon. Good racing, everyone.